And reporting, we're gonna go around the table and for attendance, Jessica Sargent, Chair.
Stephen Zamorowski.
No further.
Scott Crumpler, Conservation Director with the Scarborough Electrics.
Suzanne Foley Ferguson, member.
Anson Boger.
Nicole Hall, Community Services.
Bridget Harmon.
And Jill Derry.
What I'm doing.
Sean Hagan, Project Manager, Maine Project.
Great. This is, so we have a quorum. We have a quorum.
Mhm.
I expect a few people to trickle in, but I'd now like to open it for public comments.
Nothing online.
Okay, so we got Maggie. Maggie, can you say your name for attendance? Hi, Maggie Vishnu. Related to that, we are not gonna get Rick today, so we need somebody to take notes. Is anyone willing to take notes? I call not it and Cole is not it. No, only two not it's. Cause she's gotta shuffle through a lot of materials today, so. She just can't take notes. If you've looked at Rick's notes, it's very modest. Because we have the video recording, it's really just, attendance.
I'm pretty sure he uses the agenda
He
as
uses
the
the agenda.
template
And
and
votes.
puts down the action items.
Yes.
That's it.
It's very, very modest. So it'd just be like who attended and then, what happens with the applications. It's not a big lift.
Right.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank
I'm
you.
still working
Well,
on the Laugh 2.0. Yeah, good project.
Let me ask you this, so we're videotaping anyway, so I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of that.
Yeah, so you don't literally have to take any notes.
Yeah, I know,
During-
but I'll be better if I do it.
Yes.
And
Well, you do actually.
Yes,
you have to-
reflect back.
you have to re- And if you want us to repeat it for the video so that you can capture it,
Okay,
we can certainly do that.
okay.
Okay, Sue's gonna take notes. Thank you, Sue.
Second that.
Oh. I'll leave it. I don't think we need to vote on that. So just some quick updates. So obviously Micah did the laugh in the original form and the new form. So maybe next meeting, we can have a more in-depth discussion about what that looked like. And I think that also then means that some of the data are available, well, the data are, well.
Yeah,
think
I was
the
gonna
data-
look at it, make sure you can answer all the questions. That's good. Yes, good news.
Yeah.
Maybe you can ask him if there was anything he couldn't answer.
Yep.
He didn't have access to that layer. That'd be great.
And then, do we want to request his availability at a future meeting or to meet with the subcommittee?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we were.
is that okay, or do we always have to go through Nicole or Karen or something? Can we actually talk to the people directly?
I think it's always through a liaison.
It's always-
Yeah, so if we could maybe come up with, have a meeting, just an hour.
Would it be like a workshop
No, I'm
just-
thinking meeting with the subcommittee
being at this? Okay.
Just,
and
yeah,
then any members who
Doug and
want to
Scott and
join
I.
that conversation, because I'm thinking. Dick, you might want to talk to Micah. Micah,
I can ask him about
about the
that.
GIS.
Gee, I can ask him about that. We talk, Dick and
know
I
you-
talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We can talk about that, the implication next week.
Yeah, I don't think it's for
Today.
today. I just wanted to acknowledge that, he did do the test run with 2 new
Awesome.
applications, so we will have more information soon, but I'm gonna put that in the hands of the subcommittee because it is rather detailed. And we're not getting into that today.
Thank you.
And to just formalize that until it's final, we will continue to do the original
Yes.
evaluation form. A little ahead of our skis there. And then, oh, Doug is here. Doug and Zam, how did the first reading go last week?
Yeah, unanimous support, very excited. Yeah, thumbs up. We were told to spend the money faster. So. They did say it, but not fast, but good job. They just looked at the fact that it was a wonderful property and checked all the boxes. They're really excited about preserving land. So they're all in favor.
Which project was it?
244 Beach Ridge.
Just to put it out there, there has been interest and talk about purchasing recreational land. And I know that does not fit into this particular structure, so just throwing it out there as there has to be some sort of rubric, I'm guessing, that would rate
Yes.
Yes.
recreational land coming down the,
So recreational land, historic properties, they are part of the approved purposes for
Right.
the funds. And we have talked about creating additional processes for those types of properties. We're just updating the conservation piece first and then we'll continue.
Yep.
Especially as there are more town plans coming. So we got the open space plan, but then there's also the trails plan. There's gonna be the vulnerability assessment. So we'll want to incorporate the best information possible into all of our evaluations. We just can't do it all at once. We're working as fast as we can. But yes, recreation is one of the approved purposes and we will evaluate it. It may be more of a qualitative discussion. If we get an application.
Be able to do a lot of work until we get an idea of what people mean by recreation.
Right.
I listened to the thing about, recreation, and well. Is this ball fields? Is this
I
skate
think
parks?
the idea is fields.
Yes.
Because we have been
So
in a
it's-
severe deficit for years, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so it just helps to know.
Yeah.
At some point here, when we're gonna start talking about it, what are we talking about?
right,
Any other updates before we start on our first application and then? So. Jessica is the new person.
I'm Betsy Armstrong and I used to be on the board of the Land Trust. So I'm just a citizen of Scarborough at this point, but I'm interested in both law. But like the company. Serve.
Absolutely. Just trying to capture everybody in the room for our volunteer note taker.
So, yeah.
Who's the person down there?
I got her, yeah, I know, you don't recognize me anymore. It's my glasses.
So we're gonna move on to the application for the Nonsuch River Preserve, which is 91 Muzzy Road. So I'm gonna invite the Scarborough Land Trust to present. What would you like Nicole to put up first? And there are paper packets at the end, if anybody did get one.
Yes, why don't you just start with one of the pictures, first picture.
that one,
Um,
I have a lot up, so you're gonna have to be patient with me.
yeah, the picture is one, this one over here.
Oh, pictures.
Yeah,
Okay.
start with the picture, now I'll probably have to change to a map very quickly, but I just wanted to. Picture come up there first.
As we're getting started, just one comment on. the fact that we went a long time spending. Without having somebody compare this kind of thing. So you walk in and get it packed, and this is really fantastic. I assume it's Nicole, but it's a really big help. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you for inviting me today to talk with you about the Nonsuch River Preserve. Scarborough Land Trust, we are planning to purchase and conserve approximately 30 acres of undeveloped land. It includes forests, wetlands, riparian area, which riparian area means the area along rivers. And it includes about 1,500 feet along the Nonsuch River. So these are just some, I just wanted to put up a few pictures so you can kind of get a sense of it before we start talking in more detail. This is a shot of the area down by the river. The river runs along that tree line in the back there. If you want to move that up to the next picture, this is a picture of some of the upland forests that we'll be talking about. And then if you move up to the last picture, this is the shot of a wetland area, some cattails in there. It's the river again is down along where the tree line is here, and there's some upland forests on the property as well. This is actually a picture that I took from Gorham Road. So I'll show you a map in a second, but this is as you're driving down Gorham Road, you can look over and see part of the Nonsuch, what we're gonna call the Nonsuch River Preserve. So with that, Nicole, if you could put up the map, we'll start with yeah, we can start with, why don't we start with we'll start with that one. So this is a close-up view of the outline of what we'll be purchasing. The property is currently 60 acres and it runs up to the top of the picture there and around, including that house and barn right there. We're purchasing it from the owner. We're splitting off 30 acres of it's approximately 60-acre property right now. This is Gorham Road right here. This is the Nonsuch Brewery, for kind of getting perspective on it. This is part of our Warren Woods Preserve, a little piece here, and this is a piece that we own from an open space years ago from the development along here, that runs along Nonsuch as well. If you can switch over to the larger map. So this gives you kind of a view overall. This again is Gorham Road right here. This is Eight Corners. The school is right here. This is Mudsney Road. So it kind of gives you perspective. This is Warren Woods. The land trust owns about 318 acres in Warren Woods. This over here is what I've been calling the Honeywell Hill Conservation Area. The town owns all of this property. This aqua color is a conservation easement that the land trust holds on town property. And then over here is the land trust's Blue Heron Preserve. This is between the Scarborough connector and this is US Route 1. So the Nonsuch River Preserve is going to fit in really nicely within this whole context of protecting land along the Nonsuch River. We're going to be adding 30 acres here. We're going to combine it with the 9 acres that we already own along the river and across the river. And it's going to create or connect with about 455 acres of contiguous conserved lands along the Nonsuch River through there. So you can see it's pretty much from the turnpike all the way to US 1 that we're working on here. And this is just kind of another piece in the puzzle to add more conservation land through there. So as I said before, we're gonna be purchasing about 1,500 feet along the Nonsuch River there. And the Nonsuch River is important. It's the longest river in Scarborough. It is the primary source of fresh water for the Scarborough Marsh. And as you know, the Scarborough Marsh is Maine's largest contiguous salt marsh, and it's an area of statewide ecological importance. So anything that influences the Nonsuch River is going to influence downstream into the marsh. So by protecting this property, protecting from runoff, from erosion, from all the different aspects that could go into the river, we're going to be protecting the Scarborough Marsh as well. Nature's Network, which is a collaboration led by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, along with 13 other organizations and agencies around the country. They have identified the Nonsuch River as part of an aquatic core network that supports a broad diversity of aquatic species and the ecosystems on which they depend. So it's nationally, recognized as an important river for protection of aquatic species and ecosystems. It will also protect local fisheries, as the Nonsuch River is home to both wild and stocked brook trout. It's also home to brown trout and American eel, as well as a number of what are called bait fish. Bait fish within the Nonsuch River. But essential to the protection of the Nonsuch is protection of the watershed, the floodplains, the protection of the floodplains, the wetlands, the forests that are right along the Nonsuch River. And as we've talked about before in other projects, wetlands are very important because they act as a sponge. They hold back water during times of floods, and they release water during times of drought, which is very important to protecting the Nonsuch and the fisheries and all the important aspects that the Nonsuch plays. The wetlands also will filter water by trapping sediments and removing nutrients before they make their way into the river and down to the marsh. The forests also help to prevent pollution and erosion, as well as provide important habitat for wildlife. So they contain critical areas for breeding and feeding resources for reptiles, amphibians, birds, mammals, lots of different wildlife. In fact, the Nonsuch River is a huge wildlife corridor, probably the largest wildlife corridor that we have in Scarborough. A lot of wildlife movement through there, so protecting that area along there is going to protect a lot of wildlife habitat. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service also considers this property priority habitat for wetland-associated migratory birds and waterfowl. The property will support 26 priority species of waterfowl, non-waterfowl, and other fish and wildlife species as identified by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The public will have access to the property for recreational purposes. It will protect the scenic views along Gorham Road. So as you're driving along Gorham Road here, you're going to be looking out into the property. There's some great scenic views along through there. And finally, protecting this property will advance 3 important goals for the town. The first one is the town's open space plan, as the property includes high value open space as identified in the plan. It will advance the town's comprehensive plan, as the comprehensive plan states the Nonsuch River is the largest source of fresh water for the Scarborough Marsh and has previously been identified by the town as a conservation priority. And finally, the third goal will be advancing the town's 30 by 30 goal. Any questions so far before I move on to, I'm going to talk about the budget and some other things? Okay, so, well, we bring up the budget. So,
Sorry.
no problem. So the property was appraised out at $430,000 for the 30 acres. We have associated project costs with the project, so the total comes out to a little over $524,000. We were generously given a donation by the owner of $180,000 towards the purchase. And we are raising, we've actually secured already we have a grant from them. I didn't list them all out here, but we got a grant from the state, from the Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund. We got a grant from the Wharton Foundation. And we secured some contributions from individuals and businesses. So we have secured this amount, the $94,000 of other fundraising. So we're requesting $250,000 from the land bond towards the purchase, which is a little less than 50% of the total project cost. So I put up here, if you'll notice, I have another funding source in the same line as the town of Scarborough, NOCA, and I apologize for the acronym. It is the North American Wetland Conservation Act. North American Wetland Conservation Act, or called NOCA. NOCA is a federal grant program administered through U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We applied back in, I think it's been a couple of years now, and we were awarded, fully awarded by NOCA for the $250,000 for the purchase of the property back in, I think it was in May of 2024. I put it in a letter that's in your packet to you all to explain the whole situation here. Since then, the Congress has allocated and approved the money, so it's in the congressional budget and has been approved. We were anticipating having the release of the funding by this past summer, and we were gonna close on this project this past summer. However, with the new administration in January, they put in another layer of, I hesitate to say review, but they just have like oversight or sign off, I guess you'd say. Because it's already been approved, it's already been allocated, but they've included another layer of sign off on the project before the funding can be released. So right now, we're just in a holding place, waiting for the funding to be released. It could be released tomorrow. We've reached out to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service a number of times over the past 6 months. And they just say they've had to push it up chain for this sign off, and they don't know when to expect it. So it could happen tomorrow, we could get sign off, and if we do, we will use NAPA funding to purchase this property. If it doesn't happen before December 1st, that's the date of our closing for the property in our contract with the owner, December 1st. If it doesn't happen before December 1st, then we would draw down a land bond funding to pay for the property, and then when NAPA comes in, we would reimburse the land bond. And I really do stress that, I mean, we've been awarded, it's been allocated in congressional budget, so we're just waiting for the release. I'm very confident that it will be released. NAPA is a very so it's just a supported project, it's a bipartisan supported project. It just got passed in the recent budget again for more funding this past July in the budget. So it is is a very popular program, just a matter of getting the money released. So I've been holding off on bringing this to the land bond as long as I can, because I was hoping that NAPA would come through, but I don't want to jeopardize losing the property. Having the contract expire. We've been in contract with this owner for 2 years now. And so it's time that we finish it up. We can't really extend it anymore. So that is the situation there.
Maggie has a question.
So it's not really a question, but,
Maggie has a
Suzanne-
statement.
Maggie has a statement. So Sam and Doug and I went and toured the property, even met the owner, and I just want to say, in terms of being new to this work and in terms of our process, for me, that was invaluable. Being able to see this, not just look at pictures of it, and see the different types of land that, you know, and the growth and what the potential of it is. I mean, for me, that was really helpful. So I hope we can continue doing that.
Yeah, early on, we did a lot of that. We did it almost every project. And then we got away from it, and I'm not sure why.
We're trying to get back to it. Trying to get that far.
Not too far away.
Maybe
No.
walk the Libby piece.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
We've had several come fast here, had people on committees now.
Yeah, yeah.
Which has been an issue, but we didn't leave it behind. We
Yeah.
Yeah,
More able to do it as well.
just seeing how it's situated
Right.
with all your other acquisitions and your goals, it just, for me, was really helpful.
Great. Yeah, no, I'm happy to take people out on walks tonight.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
I want to know what a bioblast is, but you guys, I think, Noah took people out and did a bioblast to this property, and this guy said, I'm asking about that.
You want me to answer that, or? So it's a bioblitz. We don't blast wildlife.
The scientific term. They didn't go.
So BioBlitz, it's traditionally, it's like a 1 day, or it's a shortened amount of time. And so in this case, we spent a morning out on the property, and you get as many people as you can together, and you go around the entire property, and you try and inventory as many different species, both plants and animals, that you can in that 1 period of time. And the idea is that you don't want to stretch it over too long of a time, because you might duplicate the wildlife that you're identifying, right? So during a short period of time, and you come up with a list of all the different animals and plants that are on the property. And then that helps Well, the reason that we did that was because we wanted to get that inventory, so that way it helps with our management of the property, knowing what's out there, what's using the property, so we can better manage the property to support that wildlife and support the wildlife.
Did you include that in the funding request for NACA as well?
Did I
Was
include
that
that?
part of the request, the application for this funding?
NACA does not request that to be done. It was actually Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund is the state. I had mentioned that they were one of the grants that we received. They don't require it, but it increases the number of points you get in the application process and makes your application more competitive. What they ask for is that you partner with either a government agency, either another government agency, it can be town, state, federal, or you partner with another nonprofit organization. So in that case, we partnered with the University of New England to help us with the pilots, and they were great. They provided experts in identification of wildlife, and we were able to get some community members to also help out with identification. It was a great day. It was very successful. And NOAA was helpful. NOAA, working for UNE in their environmental sciences program. He was helpful in gathering volunteers, students. So we also were able to connect with the students at University of New England and provide them with an experience as part of their education, learning how to inventory different wildlife. So it was a great day. It was a wonderful partnership. And I think it was, benefited everybody that it was.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask about, you said, you received a Maine Coast Heritage Grant and a Wharton Foundation grant, you know,
No, not Maine Coast Heritage, Maine Outdoor Heritage.
outdoor.
Maine
Okay,
Outdoor
outdoor.
Heritage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really think it's important that we keep track of these, because they leverage town funds. And it really is good for our program in the town. So, I don't know if you know those off the top of your head, but I think we should probably, that'd be great if this committee could know what those amounts are, even though this is a borrow project.
And those entities.
Sure. Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund, so this is a one that we have presented on other projects in the past. Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund, so its acronym is MOHF. We were awarded $24,000 towards the project. And we also applied to the Wharton Foundation, or the Wharton Trust, I'm sorry. And we received $15,000 for that. And then the remainder is from contributions.
It also shows that other organizations have reviewed the project and believe it to be valid.
So,
Yeah, and I believe the work. Sorry, go. No,
Well, I was just gonna read from the letter. It was number 2 out of 18 applications submitted nationwide for NACA. So, it's number 2. I think is also really important to highlight. It's national, it's important to state, it is important national.
are you done your presentation? Can we go to questions or do you want to finish up?
I believe I'm finished, unless there's any
Yeah, I have
other
questions.
exhibits or anything that somebody wanted to see.
Maggie was ahead of you though. She raised her hand.
No, I think he was ahead.
Okay.
It's really, linking to what Sue was just saying. When we do our fact sheet, our annual or biennial, whatever it is, a fact sheet. All the amounts and the entities where there's leverage, I think.
Yes.
So public access, can you talk about your plans there and where the access will come from or be?
If you want to put the map up again.
Yeah, I was curious because there's a couple new crosswalks going in and if those could be used with a sidewalk to be able to.
I mean, by the brewery.
And the new apartments.
This one or this one?
That one's. So this is Gorham Road. Our access to the property is along Gorham Road. And there is a entrance right in this area here. This is a lot of floodplain area and wetland. So this would not be a good access point, but we do have access up through here. And that's where we would have public access would come in through here. And this is a lot of dry area all through here that we would, have allow for people to hiking and hunting and different uses for that recreation. Much of the area right along through here is very seasonally wet with the flooding of the Nonsuch River, which is one of the benefits of owning this property is that it will allow the Nonsuch to flood during those times, which will reduce impacts downstream. And so that would be a more difficult area to put in recreational trails.
And there'll be parking.
There can be, or we could connect the trail system to Warren Woods. So we have to look at all of that. We may have some access along Gorham Road for parking already in the plans. So we may not need to actually put parking lots.
Are we ready to start with the evaluation, and then we'll obviously ask questions as they come up?
I just want, two additions to what Scott just said. First of all, and to your point, the other avenue of access, which shouldn't be ignored, is actually by water. And so I've paddleboarded that whole stretch, and it's certainly navigable by paddleboard and kayak. And importantly for that, the habitat that he's talking about, well, that's along the river, which you really can't see from that map as distinguishable, is a floodplain and it's shrubland, and it's mediated by the river and the flooding, and so it'll not, at least in the short term, change. It'll stay that. And it's an incredibly unique habitat in southern Maine, and one that is probably the top priority of management for the state in terms of, because of its uniqueness. And when I was there, I was just blown away by the quality of it. Yes, it has some invasive species, but most of it is native species, native shrubs. And so it's just awesome. I was really impressed by the quality.
I flushed a deer when we're walking up this, so it's deer paths everywhere.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you.
Good.
So.
Well, I'm very excited that we don't have to have this debate today, because it is in the floodplain.
Hooray.
Debate the merits of the underlying GIS map. So Mike had calculated it as 10.4 acres. I have nothing to dispute 10.4 acres.
Okay.
And it has rare, significant, and endangered species habitat mapped, which we usually argue about also.
Yes.
So at 2 acres, that calculates to 9.8.
What you're seeing in that is what Noah just referred to in terms of value of this habitat. From the state standpoint, they're looking for places where it's not all invasive species. It's been significantly changed over time. There's so few of those now, so it's pretty neat. Even though it's it's relatively small, looking at it, it's really important.
I think because we do have the BioBlitz. No, can you speak to 3 on the areas of special biological or geological significance? It's 10 points per feature.
Yeah, I would, the shrub wetlands is really the unique habitat that's underrepresented there. I would also potentially argue an unobstructed river is also an incredibly unique habitat in southern Maine, which so many of our rivers are obstructed. And this section is not, it's not. But really that shrub habitat is remarkable. The uplands is not an unusual habitat. It's kind of young pine. There's up closer to the road, there's spruce fir, but most of the upland habitat that's included in this purchase is fairly common habitat.
Would your recommendation be 20 or 10?
It would be 20. I really think that preserving the integrity of an open river open navigable river, and then that's the shrubland habitat, those two together.
Agreed.
Important, really important floodplain. Because, you know, there's slope there, and but you got that shrubland protecting, so you don't get a lot of erosion through, and it floods pretty regularly. I mean, you know, you drive along 114, if you've ever noticed, as you cross the Nonsuch, you're going towards the Nonsuch River Brewery and stuff out there, sands and all that stuff. On your left, you'll see a manhole with a sewer that stands up, you know, 8 feet, you know, cement tower with a manhole at the top of it. Because of the flooding that's natural in the river, so it's pretty important. And of course, this property is right across.
Moving on to 4, parcel contains high volume habitat. He has a lot of notes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. The river. And the shrub wetlands.
From his GIS work, it looks like the shrub grass area is at least 10.4 acres.
I think, honestly, I'd be giving credit there for A, B, and D. Even in the upland piece of this, Scott took us out to where there's a stream that comes through that empties into the Nonsuch, coming from sort of Muzzy Road area. So it's a really, really interesting forested area with wetlands, drier areas out, stream, and you get, then you're by the river. So there's a lot going on in this small space.
Would you recommend 50, because you get 1 point per 50, sorry, you get 1 point per total acres and it is the max points are 50.
The parcel's not 50 acres.
No, it's point per percent of total acreage.
For each.
So it's not, it is based on the percentage of the acres, not the number of
Yeah.
acres, and then it's maxed out at 50.
One of the things we did in the new form is this, you can come up to a little bit of double counting here because of 3 and 4. So I would just split it, say 25 points here. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I was coming in 30s, 25 is fine.
And you want to,
You're on number 4.
For
yeah,
Are we putting in percentages or are we just putting in a point?
20.
well, that's what I was to say, we're gonna distribute it between A, B, and D.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I have to say, in my opinion, that parcel is, whatever the top points you could get, they should be, in my opinion. So if you're talking about percentage, then it's 150 is the max. I think 50 is what it should be. Obviously not in the marine estuary intertidal, but in the freshwater and in the A and the B points.
I don't
think there's any
I mean,
other
yeah,
parcel anywhere
Well,
in town, well, maybe on the marsh, I guess, when the river gets down to the marsh, but it's basically, it's there.
Well, even if we just consider the floodplain, which is 10.4 acres, that's a third already.
so we already cover that in line. It's,
Right.
again, we get that, we get the double counting. It's, we're arguing about a very minor thing here, so put in
Yeah.
50, it doesn't matter. I think we all know how we feel about the property.
Can you split it between A, B, and D?
A, B, and D.
Freshwater, the river,
Yeah,
the forest type, and the shrubs. So not.
Not
C.
evenly.
That's okay. You-
That's okay.
We can do 15 each, it gets you 45.
Are you cool with that with your 15 each, Sue?
15 each.
I'm cool with that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. 5. Protection to the marsh, I think we also argue with that, it will be fixed, we typically. Yes, it does provide protection to the marsh, but not as this question is intended,
Right, this
and the new evaluation
will cover that.
will cover that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to have this by every time. Wildlife corridors.
I'm glad I missed all that.
Mhm.
I would say this whole property is gone, and so
Yeah,
we should max out.
So
We also observed.
Yeah.
We're walking around with deer bedding down on their sides.
Well, along with the river, yeah, so that would be 25. Aquifer recharge,
I don't see any bear tracks.
no, yeah, I didn't.
That doesn't mean they don't walk through.
7 calculated at. The parcel, which is half per acre, which is 15.5.
Yeah, that's JS generated, so let's go with that.
So unless we have questions for Scott or other comments, moving on to linkages, buffers and additions to conservation lands. Is there a typo in one? In that it's 31 acres?
Yeah, didn't look right. That's how it is.
Okay, so I think that's not 66, it's 31, and I think he looked at the full parcel or something, the tax.
That's the whole.
Yeah, which would put us at 30 points. What do you think about shape, Doug?
Yeah, let's just ignore the shape, because it's a unique deal, you know, and this is. This property gets so many, you know, it checks so many boxes. That, let's not worry about it. And of course, in the new process. I still think it's wonderful. concept.
Yes.
I would say, yeah, this is a pretty regular shaped parcel.
This,
Is it?
yeah,
Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna skip to you,
Okay.
acknowledging. Shape is a bit up in the eye.
How close to the circle is it?
we have plenty of points here anyway. so,
Fine.
Yeah,
So 3, creates a link between public or protected parcels of at least 20 acres.
absolutely.
Scott, how many was it? 400? I meant to write it down. 455.
Are there maximum points on this?
Ice.
50.
50?
So
Where's the
how do you
50?
score that? It's based on the size of the parcel itself or the size of the connected acres?
It says use total acreage of all linked parcels.
Oh, so it's 50.
That's it.
What was the acreage again for the full?
455. Parcel, so moving on to 4, parcel creates a link between trails.
Yeah,
Not yet. So 0. That's, again, that was kind of like the connecting the Eastern Trail, was the original intention. 5, parcel creates a link between undeveloped properties totaling at least 20 acres, yes. And total acres of the parcel only, that would be 30, not 31, not 66, which would be 15 points. I don't know if it automatically. 6, parcel abuts public or protected lands, yes, so again, it's at 31 acres, so 15.5. Yeah, I better do that, I'm at 31, it's not half per acre. So it's,
so it's 1 point per acre. So
yeah,
it's
so
30.
31 and 30. 7, near protected lands. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna do 31 acres at 1 point per acre, so 31 points. For 7. The max, so moving on to 8 with the 100-foot wide buffer. Of natural vegetation from the edge of the river, yes, that gets them max points of 50. Same with the 250, we get, it's not double counting because we're giving points for a 100-foot buffer and we're also giving points for the wider buffers, that's all. Also 50. And last question is slope. Right now, it's calculated at 0, but you all were out there, so parcel includes steep slopes of over 20% grade. Did you mention slope? Was it more of a
Yeah,
gentle?
it's a gentle.
Or-
Oh, yeah, the slope to the river is gentle,
Okay,
because, you know, the river builds up in there, particularly on that side of this property. It's a little higher on the piece of property across that the trust owns. The land is a little higher, but, so the river builds up on this side. But we saw some grade inland by the stream, some,
Yeah, but that's not
but it's
20%.
nothing, it's nothing.
I think there's not really any steep, right? 20% grade, not really.
I don't think that's steep.
It didn't seem like it was just from looking,
It's steeper on the other side of the river.
but
Yeah.
not 20%.
Yeah, it's steeper on the
The other
other
side of the river might be, but it's not in this parcel.
The far side goes.
Well, it is. Oh, that's right. It's in the other process. Okay, good. No,
okay. Next, moving on to public access. So it provides access to the river.
yeah,
So 31, it should be max points of 25.
yeah.
Opportunities for recreation, I think, yes. I mean, which is fantastic. And I was putting that under passive, 31 acres, max points, 20.
Let me just ask a question.
Mhm.
Is the Nonsuch River is a tidal river up to a certain point, correct?
It is, that section is not titled.
What's that?
This section is not titled.
This section is not tidal. It doesn't show. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay, sorry,
Okay.
that's it.
Oh, no. So 20 points for passive recreation for potential.
Yeah, that's been changed. The max.
Cool. And then moving on to the community character section, okay. He currently, Micah put it under forest land and again, 66 acres. Don't know why we have it under.
Well, it's that view, this is the, talks about the views, right? So view from the road that Scott showed, that's kind of forest and wetlands, really, there's wetlands there, right, Scott?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Do you have a proposal? Doug, do you have a proposal?
Well, you know, once again, the value of walking, the part along the river, sort of along this part, and then there's the big piece that's more dry, is trouble. So we're talking a field or farming, so there's this a portion that is number 2. Then there's a portion that's number 3. Without question, I don't know about.
Yeah, the view from the road though is really just the
You know,
the forest land and.
Scott said, you know, it helps protect community character there, but you know, honestly. Because when I drove home, I drove by there just to take a look in there, you know, and it's heavily forested. There's a house, and then you get that pump station, you know, and we've got access, this property will have access through there, straight, but it's pretty closed in. When you're right at the river, you don't want to stop at 114 because you'll die. Yeah. If you stop at the river and look in, you would see that shrubland that Noah's talking about, was just visible. And if, you know, for a lot of people, it looked like nothing, but for people who's really interested, it was pretty cool. But once again, it's really hard to.
Yeah, it's a
slow
quick,
down.
it's a quick view, I would give it 25 points. I mean,
Under.
narrow and it's quick view, it's not like you're driving along it, yeah. 3, forest land.
So not 1 point for every acre, is that what? We're still on number 5.
Well, Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll do 25.
Okay.
As well.
There's a number under number 7. Working
Yeah, I
forest
think-
pasture.
I think that just,
No.
that goes away.
That-
Okay, thank you.
And then,
What did you say? Going on?
25.
We're doing 2 and 3, or?
we were gonna do
2 and
3. Or 2 and, oh,
It's really
It
four.
used to be 4.
It's really 3.
you're doing,
It's a combination of forest and wetlands. We don't have wetlands on here. So Mark,
But we do have field, so there should be points for 2 and 3.
okay,
how many points together?
I just split
12 and 12.
15 acre road.
So one of the things, just to keep in mind, and I don't know if this will help with this, but I'm just confused now. But the original intent, you know, there was identified rural roads, and 114 was at one time identified
Alright,
as a rural road. And so in that case, it would have been, you know, in the number 4, because there were actually ones identified in the open space that we wanted to score.
yeah,
But
They
the
list
100
them.
feet isn't much, right? It's a-
I know,
Yeah.
I know, I know, but I just wanted to bring that up.
that's good.
So,
Thank you.
and it's not rural.
And that's why,
Well, you know, as we've done these over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been a little bit more biased towards what it looks like when you're on the property. Simply because rural roads in Scarborough, I mean, oxymoron.
yeah,
So,
Well, we all know it when it goes away.
yes. Public investment.
Public investment, so it's a fee, so that is 31 acres, 1 point per acre, so that's 31 points, not 50.
And I think we should give 31 points for the donation of the landowners. That's public.
So that would also be
3,
31,
30
Which is-
extra.
$180. $180,000 landowner donation is a huge
Huge.
contribution to the town,
Yes,
and that's,
it is, but there's other partnerships.
but there's also
Right.
partnerships.
There's already been, there's 3 other partnerships.
Right.
outside of that. So it deserves full points for,
mhm.
partners.
All right,
474.7.
How did this go down exactly?
Because he had.
He has 66 acres for a lot, a bunch of them.
And so they were at 50.
we're harsh, that's why.
And then when they got adjusted down from 50 to 31,
Fair.
still high. Do we want discussion then motion or motion then
I
discussion?
move to approve
I second.
this. And then I guess I haven't got my,
Uh,
they're borrowing the money. I don't think we should spend too much time on this. I think we should get to the next project. Because they're borrowing money and we're gonna pay, in my opinion.
Maybe on the agenda for next time, that time we can talk about where that goes and how we get to it. Next, for instance, does that go into our fund or does it go, where does the money go?
We want to come back?
It goes into our fund. It goes into, if you,
Or do we,
no, it goes up here.
yeah, into our,
If,
acquisition reserve?
It goes here.
Yeah,
if the bonding is occurred.
Right.
Which it might not happen.
right, both through the process should be.
Yeah, we, you know,
Takes a while,
the council approves
yeah,
funds and they arrange funds to go to the land trust. Those funds are not necessarily bonded yet, you know, it's part of the process that they step through for funding the town. So if it's not bonded yet, you know, you just close the books, you know, you just reverse it. If it has been bonded, then it goes back to the reserve fund.
right. And did we answer the question, other standing question? How do we spend that and where? And
After
You spend everything.
after the bond, okay.
After.
That seems a little backwards, but okay.
Wait,
That was the answer.
we're not using the answer was we're not gonna use the reserve fund until after the bond.
Yes, yes. And where'd that answer come from?
Finance.
Finance.
Okay, let's not
Yeah.
spend hours on that.
I know we have many opinions. That was the answer that was given,
Let's move along.
and we're moving on. So, do we need the full recommendation recommendation language.
Actually, why did I do that?
The,
Why did I make the motion? Someone else should have made the video. I retract my
motion
motion.
needs to include the amount.
Yes.
Okay, I retract my motion. Someone else made the motion, so I can actually type it up.
I tried this last time. I'm gonna try.
I feel like Doug is good at the wording.
Move that we approve, that we recommend, to the council, using 250,000 of the land bond funding for the 91 Musty Road properties proposed by the Scarborough.
Do we have sense?
Second,
Can I ask a question?
Yes, discussion.
Yeah, can we recommend using funds from the land bond or the land acquisition fund?
That is another question that we would have
we
to ask.
just talked about that.
Right now, the
If we-
answer from
I can
finance.
try and get an answer for the next
Why?
meeting.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a
Explanation.
good question, because we could do this borrow there.
That's right.
There.
Without a loss of.
But that's, yeah,
That's beyond our scope.
we prefer that. Well, why would you borrow money if you didn't need to,
Yeah.
right? But Nicole's gonna look into that. For the next meeting, I suggest we talk about that.
People look at the present value of that borrowed, of the borrowing costs over the next 20 years, 30 years, instead of using the money we already have.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are not, we need more information from finance because the answer we got from finance is that it would be the bond first until we exhaust the bond.
Could be what?
The bond first.
So is it, to,
Thank you.
to lend to the Scarborough Land Trust?
No,
Or is
we
it-
don't wanna use that,
No.
just to
Well,
approve.
this is, because honestly, if we're approving this, we need to understand
Okay,
it's very possible that the ARPA funds aren't gonna show up,
Right,
not with the government, the way it operates today.
Right,
So
which is also outside our control.
it is, it is, so we are, if
right.
members of the committee don't want to vote for it because they don't like that, good, I mean, vote that way. But understand, this isn't,
You may
we're
not.
not loaning them some money and we're gonna get it back, next week
It's not
from
guaranteed.
federal government. Kidding me?
Yeah. Now, in the presentation that Jessica will give to up on that.
Yes, and they will
As a
ask me
possible.
about it, yes.
Yes,
is there a second?
yes, I second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I count that as unanimous.
Right,
Thank you.
thanks, Scott.
Scott. Does anyone need a break before we start on
3-minute break would be awesome.
the
3-minute break later, we can start,
30? It'll
we
be-
can start at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, let's come back at 11. We'll just do a real quick break and then you all can get set up with Nicole.
Batter up.
So when I cut it over to the fourth, I always pass it.
Let me see.
See, I feel- Okay.
Well, it seems like you're approaching that, like, that's what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she?
We're missing Noah, but I see him. There he is.
All right. No, these things. Yeah.
So we're moving on to the application for the O'Donnell Deering Farm, which is 3 Fenderson Place, and we welcome the Maine Farmland Trust to give us a presentation. Would you like us to hold questions to the end or we're interrupt you, but
Yeah, interrupt, that's always helpful for me, I appreciate questions during the presentation. Thank you for having me, it's my first time here, my name's Sean Hagan. Been from my trust for a while now, but first time getting to work at Scarborough, so. To jump into this project, this is a project that we're looking to put an agricultural easement on. This is a 39-acre parcel that was owned by Selma O'Donnell, who passed away recently. And the O'Donnell family is looking to sell this, and Glenn Deering, who has Deering Farm, which abuts this property, would like to purchase it and put this easement on it to keep it in agriculture. So you can see from this aerial photo, get a sense of how it's used. This is a working farmland. It's got, some of the property is hay and has been hay for a long time. And some of it is used for, nursery production of trees. About 10 or so acres is used for that. And that would continue, both of those activities would continue at this point, into the future. And we can go to the other photos here. Just another, aerial shot, so this area is nursery work, and up in the corner there, this is hay here. And these are all the trees being grown there.
And
You can
can
go.
you point out the Broadturn Farm border?
I will,
On now.
in the,
Probably in a map.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was that big tree line.
So this is just a shot of the hayland or hay fields.
Yeah.
Another shot, and in the background of this one is the Deering Farm, which runs up against this, and the county road running in the background by the tree line. And then, this is get an idea of just some of the nursery production of the tree growing there. And there. But if you want to go to one of the maps, that's a better shot there to use.
Oops, that's not showing up for me. Hold on a moment. Do you want the location map?
Yeah, so the location map should be next. There we go. That's it. We'll talk about this. So why we're really interested in protecting this property, as you can see, it fits in with a significant chunk of already protected property in this area and would increase that contiguous land. So Broadturn Farm butts this on the southwest. It may have been that tree line from that shot. And then the Deering Farm abuts it on the other three sides. So this would
So,
be,
sorry, how many
yeah.
acres would that be? It comes into the form later.
it would be about 650 acres
Thank you.
of contiguous land that would be protected plus this, so 690-ish.
Oh, sorry, how about, does that include Scarborough Preserve? This is connected to.
No, this only includes the contiguous parcels, but it does include the property that goes into Buxton next.
Is the Scarborough Preserve is contiguous?
No.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
it's another 130 acres.
yes,
Okay.
that should be continued.
Low water farm.
So we approved Scarborough Farm, that was, at that time, considered contiguous with Broadturn Farm.
Okay,
So-
yeah, there's that new 108.
All it is, it's south of those pieces right there, contiguous with Broadturn, so.
Great, so, yeah, so forgive us
It's a lot.
about not having maybe an updated. Was conserved, but that would add even additional acres to that.
What is Silverbrook again? What did you say? How much?
130,
130,
130
Hour.
plus.
But it would
720.
also add an additional, there's an additional section of Silverbrook across Hanson Road that adds approximately, I think about 40 acres, and you also have. It kind of shows it on that map, across Tapley Road, there is a section of conserved land in Saco. That the Saco Valley Land Trust owns, that's contiguous with Silverbrook Preserve, which I believe. It's another 80 acres, so there's a lot of acreage in there, it's gonna be close to 1,000 acres. Of contiguous land, once, if this property is protected.
Some of these questions are for answering town council.
of course.
So,
Yeah.
approximately 1,000 acres. I think we're confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Give a more
contiguous.
exact number, but it's
Yeah.
right around that.
Does that include the Libby, the new Libby piece? too?
Yes, that's Silverbrook Preserve.
Thank you.
And, yeah, and obviously Maine Farmland Trust's goals is protecting working farmland. So these properties at the Deering Farm, Broadturn Farm, and those areas are obviously, there's working farmland within that, some of that is also public access and forest, but those are our goals of protecting those properties. If you can scroll to the soil maps. Soil map that. So in terms of the quality of farmland, has significant farmland soils on the property, mainly soils of statewide importance and soils of local importance. Some are a little bit wetter than others, but generally this is good farmland, good pasture land, or excuse me, good hay land, good pasture land, and certainly works well for nursery production. You know, this isn't like your prime veggie growing land, but this is good farmland for a variety of uses. So we can give that. The last one for now. In terms of the goals of the town, both the open space plan and the comprehensive plan. Talk about protecting the importance of protecting farmland in the town, which we think this would certainly contribute to. And the we're gonna say the scenic views for this property as well. There are views, hard to see in this map, but County Road there, you can see this property from that. So you are driving by, so it would contribute to this as well. We can go to the budget.
Sorry, I'm just trying to share it officially.
Great. This might not be quite as comprehensive as Scarborough Land Trust in terms of our costs. We don't always track by project how much we're contributing, so those are just in kind, noted as in kind on here. But the purchase of the conservation easement, which is the focus of this, would be $385,000. The appraisal cost was $3,800. Stewardship cost for us would be $9,220. And our estimated additional costs in here are some costs for environmental review, legal fees, and closing costs. And then there are obviously significant costs for our time in doing the project, but for us to estimate just in terms of how we do our work. But the total cost, adding those costs up, would be $400,395. And we're asking for half of the easement cost from the town. So that'd be $192,500. And that comes out to about 48%, and again, that does not include the staff time or the overhead admin.
That's a quick question about the budget. The purchase price, $385,000, is that the actual appraisal value?
That has been appraised as the easement value.
That's the easement value.
Yes, so again, we're purchasing the easement on this property. Glenn is trying to purchase the property from the O'Donnells. So this is just the appraisal we got, it's just for the value of the
Easement, I got it. Thank you.
So does the easement values, do they range in 70%? Or is it really very?
It really varies, you know, so in the appraisal, the highest and best use before it could get protected would be residential development. After the easements on there, it's obviously farmland at that point. But it's gonna depend on the area of the state and how populated it is and the development pressure and all of that. To be what that percentage is gonna be. We're seeing anywhere from 40% to 70 something percent, so it can be quite low, but you know, we're working all over the state, so.
Yeah, Okay,
Are there any conditions on the easement?
Great question. So the easement would, restrict, any subdivision of property would have to remain intact. The, open fields would have to remain open, so we want to make sure that those fields are able to be used for agriculture going forward, so anything we deem as open field, once easements put on there, has to remain open, and that restricts development. So in this particular case, what we're looking at is not allowing any residents on the property. It would allow for the building of like an agricultural structure, like a barn or whatnot, that would be it.
And Maine Farmland Trust would hold the easement.
And Maine Farmland Trust would hold this easement.
I know Maine Farmland Trust has worked with the town in the past. So we have a memorandum of understanding with Scarborough Land Trust. We sometimes make recommendations as it relates to the town having an interest in the easement because public funds were used. I haven't looked at that language in a while. I'm looking at Sue.
you know what, I don't know, because we haven't looked at it.
As like a third party enforcer.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we certainly have done that. I mean, we do projects with the state and have that, as part of it, but, I don't know offhand. Whether we've done that with state.
Yeah, it's one of those questions that might come up. And then, are there any restrictions, or covenants, or like allowing public access, not allowing public access, that sort of,
Yeah, so,
especially since it's a working farm?
right, so this would not include, that one way or the others. This would leave it up to the landowner. How to determine public access, but. Yeah.
Two quick questions for you. First, does this easement have a lifespan?
This would be in perpetuity. That's
Great. And the second question is, let's say that without seeing the JS, that 50% of the parcel is open fields, that you determine 50% is open fields, 50% is not. And since the agreement allows the landowner to build agricultural buildings, could in theory, like could they take that other 50% and let's say make it entirely a production barn?
No, so. If you go back to the aerial, when we map it, we obviously figure out how much open field there is. That's not just looking at how much is open now, but we will take into account, maybe areas that might look open, but they're not great for farming well into the future. We wouldn't necessarily deem those open fields. In this particular case, I think it's about 30 acres that we're deeming as open field. And 7 that would be wooded or, areas that are too wet. Of that 30 acres, or actually, when we put in agricultural structures area, it can be anywhere on the property. What we do is we say, we will allow an agricultural structures area of 2 acres. Within that 2 acres, you can build the agricultural structures area, agricultural structures that you need, but you can't build without permission from Maine Farmland Trust. You have to submit a reason why you would be wanting to do that outside this area. So in this particular case, we haven't figured out the exact acreage. I'm gonna guess it'd be between 2 and 3 acres for an structures area, and we would figure out the location of that. There is an old shed on this property that is right up in here, Benderson Place, probably off of that, right around that shed is where we would need the best place for those buildings to go. But it would be up to the landowner whether they can build those.
Thank you.
Is there restrictions or covenants or regulations, whatever you want to call it, the type of farming and use of pesticides or anything like that?
There's not, we do have language around using best management practices, certainly, but we try to allow for the flexibility of the farmer to farm in the way and what kind of things.
Within current restrictions, right?
Yeah, so we don't restrict pesticide use beyond best management practices. This is an interesting case with the nursery, because that can, those practices of how those trees were removed is an important question. So that's certainly something that in this particular case, we want. They continue to do that and to follow best management practices so that the soil is not depleted.
Can you show me where the nursery is?
Yeah, so it's kind of dispersed around, but got an area here, and Glenn, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we got an area to the southwest where they're growing trees. And then this area, you can kind of see them. These little dots here, those are, and then you've got an area right here. As well, so it's 3 main areas.
I didn't realize it was so dispersed.
Yeah, and that's, I think, because of the different soil types and it's dispersed in that varieties.
Yeah, so I actually a quick question for the Darien family. So if you're able to acquire this parcel, can you tell us what's the total acreage that you'll need in ownership of? You own the adjacent parcel, right?
And all of our land right now is in farmland trust.
Yeah.
So we get about 300, about 320 altogether. I personally, myself and my wife own 44 acres of it across the street. And then we own 100 and something in Buxton. And then there's 106 on this parcel altogether with 40 taken out of it. So we own 3 sides of that. And that wasn't our family at one time. So my great grandfather bought that whole property over there in 1927, 26 and 27. So and then we sold some of O'Donnell's had been using it and we sold it to them in 1985 or 86. And it was to the O'Donnell's, the original owners of O'Donnell's, and they are both have passed away. They kept it out of the nursery. That was their own property. So when they passed away, it was left to their children, their 6 children. So why we have the opportunity to buy this back now is because they're trying to disperse the estate. So we're very fortunate to have a chance to put this back into the farm and continue this, into the dairy farm. So I'm the 5th generation. She's the 6th generation, so we're excited to try to get this back into the family and do what we do up there. Also, we grow mostly hay, some pumpkins and a few other things, so.
Great, thank you.
And before the O'Donnells were using it for nursery, used it was hay and force
Hay, forage, field calling for cows and stuff like that.
Yep. And you can see on this, the road frontage, from Fenderson Place, is why it has the potential to be developed. There's about 2,400 feet of road frontage.
Would it be zone rural residential?
I believe so. The zoning out there, is that rural residential?
No, it's rural. What is it? What is it? We have houses on one side of us, Rockton Road, Riverwoods is on one side of us. With 48 houses, as you can see that road going down there, that's high.
It just seems highly developable.
Yeah.
And probably 15 houses. No, probably 20. Well, sometimes the council asks these questions like, why do we need to protect it? Like, we need to.
I don't think they wanna ask that question right now, what they've been going through so lately.
Well, usually the appraisal, that's how they go about doing
Yeah.
the value of the easement. is how
Tells me
many
there's not
houses.
that much.
So my guess is that there
I can
is
try to find that for you.
information
Yeah.
on how many
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah, I can try to find that while you're.
Just, it sometimes is a question that's asked, or that we will get public comment of like, oh, is this really at
Is
risk?
it good use of our taxpayer
Is it a
dollar?
good use of our taxpayer?
Yes, it is, because
Yes.
we don't want the
because-
30 houses or whatever.
Don't want the 30 houses.
Yeah,
Yes,
We're still gonna pay tax on that property.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like it's going like
Yes.
the normal
yeah.
procedure, we're just asking money to purchase that.
Yeah.
And we do allow hunting and stuff on the property. It's by permission only. I regulate who hunts there, just safety of the hunters itself and stuff we try to teach about. With our total property, we have about 30. But that's not there all the time.
Yeah.
So can I ask one last question?
Yes.
Ask, you've got questions. Is the property currently for sale on the open market?
No,
It's not, okay. And is the sale a time sensitive sale?
yes. We like to get it done by the end of the year.
Right.
Well, they would,
Okay. The trust would.
yeah, it's only, the owners of it now, yeah. The trust gets- it's all that.
Good statement.
The state.
The O'Donnell's are trying to close out their state.
Yep, okay. Thank
It
you.
was offered to 3 people. So, O'Donnell's Nursery sells in, Scarborough Veterans.
No, just the last thing I'll say around the funding of the easement. So a lot of Maine Farm and Trust funding comes from private philanthropic sources. So for this particular property, it's just the number of private donations that we'll be using. But any chance we have to partner with the town or another organization just allows us to prioritize things faster and protect. So the other matching funds for this are secured, then there'd be private funds. I think that is everything I have. I'll try to find the number of houses. If I can for you.
It's still 2 acres. Per out there, there's no.
Guessing it's 2 acres per, so,
2 acres, yeah.
so probably around, what,
I would assume that you could ask them. There's no way.
and all that road frontage.
And the dogs right next door, and that's pretty prime.
Black conservation, so.
I think the big thing now, and we've been through this before with a number of easements and farm property. Is that you get the benefit, when referred to, you get the benefit of, it stays in the tax rolls. At a reduced value, sure, but stays in the
Well,
tax
it's current
rolls.
value,
And,
it's currently taxed at ag.
and, it stays as a working farm, stays in the tax rolls. And doesn't get developed, so it's kind of a win-win-win.
Just noted in the appraisal, it is RF zoning, so it's that rural farming. And so that's 2 acre lot size minimum, with a minimum of 200 feet of road frontage. So that works out to that, well, I guess just the lot density of one house per 2 acres. So you're looking at 15 to 20 houses.
We're probably gonna ask you questions as we go through the form, because as you can see, if we're very inquisitive. But thank you for your presentation. Thank you for bringing this project to us. It's very exciting. Okay. We'll just go question by question and then discussion and questions as they occur. So part or all of the properties in the 100-year floodplain? No. 0. Parcel includes rare, significant, or endangered species habitat? No.
That's actually not correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the adjacent Broadturn farm, that's been, silver bat, I believe. And so, and as well as this, we talked about this from the past, Silver Book. There was, there was listed bat species that were found on Broadturn farm next door that you guys included as part of the justification. And I'm forgetting which of the 8 species of bats it was.
A year back.
I don't recall.
And little brown too, so. Exactly.
And so this would certainly be in the same. If we improve that for Silverbrook, this is the same foraging distribution for sure, because that came from Broad Turk Farm.
So no, would that be 39 acres? All 39 acres, which would be 1.4% of total acres. So 100%, 50 points?
The whole parcel
Yeah, the whole parcel.
included in it for sure.
Okay, so that's, 20.
Sorry, I'm having issues. It's not giving me any scrolling options.
I'm just waiting for Nicole. So
So it's 39.
So, no, it's percent of total acreage, not total, not acres.
Oh,
So I can get maxes out at 50.
So which one are we on?
2.
Okay,
So 2 would be 39 acres or 100%, which would max out the total points out 50.
Just an update, so we had presented our Silverbrook Preserve that, the little brown bat, which is a Maine endangered species, is listed as endangered. Was on the Broadton farm, so that would be probably the bat species that would be.
not bad.
Little brown bat.
Thanks.
So maybe that is 100, that's not 39, it might be 100. So 100%, and then you can delete that 2 acres. I think that's.
Two over,
Yeah. That's- Little brown bat, okay, right. Parcel includes areas of special biological or geological significance. I'm gonna look at you, Noah, because of the Maine threat species, the little brown bat. What does that mean for? It's not,
Just hold it out to that. I don't think it's safe.
okay. So that remains at 0.
I guess the only exemption would be if the applicant has particular knowledge of the woodlot and that the woodlot is rare and unique.
Well, this parcel, but it's minimal woodlot, there's no woodlot, it's all fields.
Yeah, I think there's some, there's woods.
It's good woodland, it's just treated,
It's mostly,
on the wet
it's
area.
a slope, wet area,
Okay,
there's no forest to this parcel, it's
Okay.
all.
all right, great, thank you.
And then. Moving on, so that'd be 0 for 3, and then 4, parcel contains high. Volume habitat, or. I think it's high value, but, or,
Yeah, should be valued.
I don't know why that doesn't. I don't think it, because. The forested part is just kind of a sloped.
It's kind of ironic that agriculture is not listed on there, given the scarcity of agriculture in Scarborough. Strikes me as a pretty high value human habitat, I'm sure.
For where?
Number 4.
Of,
Yeah.
We're worried about humans.
Yeah,
So 4 is.
well, it kind.
well, we have grass.
Well, I think that's like grassland. not
The value,
pasture.
that was based on a map, that was based
but
on a map
We have no
of what
critters
was
living in
considered
those fields.
valuable habitat by the
Right.
state
I guess fair.
or the federal government. It was the map that was,
So I-
that's the 25%.
I realize this is a working farm in the sense that you've got the hay fields, you've got trees, you've got other stuff that's going on. But working farms are habitats,
Yeah.
animals are moving through.
Yeah.
We're talking about almost 1,000 acres here. There's value here in terms of grass, shrubs, bare ground and forested wetlands.
Yeah.
30 acres is, is the fields, et cetera, which is 80%, 20% is 7 acres, and of course, wetlands. So honestly, in terms of this kind of thing, from the standpoint of habitat and the connections, I'd give it 50 points.
Yes, I agree.
So you want 100 in B, or do you want
No,
70,
I was saying 80% in B,
or 80 in B?
20% in D. I mean, that's what 30 and 7 would do.
So that,
Absolutely, this is contributing to an incredible
Yes,
habitat block in western Scarborough.
Yeah. I agree.
so max points at 50. We're just redistributing. Finally. 5, protection, no charge protection to the saltwater mark, uh, 6, wildlife corridors.
Yes. That's what Scott just said, it connects all those properties.
This one's a weird one because it's 5 foot. I think we just max it
Give
out
it 25.
25.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 1,000 potatoes. So 25 for 7. Oh, wait, no. So if it's 31 acres, you get a half point per acre.
No, that was number 6.
we're at 6,
6, sorry,
give it 25.
25. I skipped 7, sorry about that.
No offer for recharger.
For recharge area. Any discussion before we move on to linkages, buffers, additions to conservation lands? Nope. So size 30 points, that's 1, shape. It's gotta be a perfect shape.
Yeah,
it's
really good.
Perfect shape.
So 50, right?
I don't know.
Shape.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of this particular calculation. Now, I don't know. I believe it would max out, but.
That's
it's
50.
perimeter area thing, it's a complex thing.
It's 50.
We can give it points or we can skip it and.
Yeah, let's give it,
I think we should just give it the 50.
I think we should give it points. I think it's-
yeah, 50 points.
50 points.
We're generous today.
Well, I mean, it just
No.
slots right
Yeah.
in there.
It's pretty.
It
pretty
connects
tight.
all that.
That's good.
Yes.
It's a piece of the puzzle.
Okay, and then obviously it maximizes 3, creates a link between public and protected parcels totaling at least 20 acres or 1,000.
Yeah,
You get, so it's 15 because it's 39 acres. No, wait, it's 50 because it's
It's the acreage, well.
It's acres.
So it's 50.
Yeah, it's 50. So
It's gonna be the highest
1,000.
scoring farm we have.
good.
So parcel creates a link between trails, 0. Parcel creates a link between undeveloped parcels totaling at least 20 acres.
There's any
50.
snowmobile trails through there? No,
It used to, but when they built beside us, they kind of
oh, okay, sorry.
stalled that.
There was no snow any.
Well, yeah, you gotta get snow first.
He called it 40, Micah called it 40 acres, so that puts us at 15 foot.
How, that doesn't make sense to me.
Because so 3 looks at total acreage of all linked parcels, 5 looks at total acreage of parcel only. That's just what the red says.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. 6, parcel butts public or protected lands, absolutely 40. Parcel is near protected lands, absolutely 40. Parcel 8 also provides a 100-foot buffer of natural vegetation from the edge of rivers, streams, salt, the marsh, beaches, or the bay. No, I don't know what the points are in there.
Why does that?
I think it's stick.
It's probably a carryover.
Let's take that out.
There's the next one, I don't think that's a mistake.
Yeah, there's no river there, right?
Yeah, that was not in this parcel, but next to it.
Yeah, but
Fog Brook's there.
No, Noah's right, it's not a carryover. Nonsuch was 1495.
It has a river or
Yeah.
stream through the actual parcel.
Are they including the water, where they pump the water from?
Brook?
It doesn't have to have the part of the water.
The water
Right,
doesn't have to be in the parcel.
Right, exactly.
It's about the parcel.
Yes, yep.
So it's actually 50. And 50.
So it's about the whole area that this is a part of.
Right, so if the stream's here, but the parcel starts here, you still wanna give credit to the parcel for being, protecting that stream.
Okay.
And that's probably why parts of it are wet.
Well, this is a 10 feet from the edge, this isn't 10 feet, something abutting.
Well, no,
Here
it's,
and helping with the water flows. This
it's
is
gotta be within the
from
one,
edge of- This is from the edge of the stream.
it's gotta be within the 100-foot buffer.
That's right, yeah.
He captured it, yeah, so he puts the stream in and then he puts the buffer, and the buffer must be captured in the parcel.
Yeah, but it has to be the original.
As long as I think
That's right, on the
I think
original.
it's right, as long as all the land between their streams is absorbed.
Right.
If the land is
Is it-
developed
is
there,
it
you
preserved?
do that benefit, I would say.
Is
So
it
is it?
preserved? Who
Yeah,
owns
yes,
that
everything's-
parcel?
Yes, it's completely.
Yeah, cause it's completely surrounded by protected lands.
We own the parcel between there and the river.
Remember the,
Yep.
Yeah, so it goes directly to this, your land goes directly to this.
Well, this is becoming. Honestly, I really have trouble with this because this particular property is really valuable in a lot of ways. But not as a buffer to streams, so. I understand where, I mean, there might be some little tiny brooks around through there.
But what's the
this.
what's the main stream that runs through there? There goes a broad turn, that's the Nonsuch, isn't it?
You know, it's fog versus a person.
But it's a little bit of none such watershed up there. And where it has to.
Well, already,
This is
that's
the,
drought water.
so this is a point where you have to imagine that there are no geopolitical boundaries in this conversation. It's a GIS exercise, not a boundary, not a parcel boundary exercise.
Right.
And so given that, that's where the 1800 comes out, that he's measuring it regardless of parcel boundaries. And from the edge of this parcel to there, does it fall within that? And the answer is yes.
Okay, but this is supposed to be the edge of the river or stream.
It
From
is.
the
It
edge.
is.
It is.
It is
But it
because
is-
there's no development between.
Right, so imagine the situation where this parcel,
Gets developed.
just became a parking lot for something, whatever, I'm just.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and it would have great negative effect on Silverbrook because that parcel would hold it and then the water would rush through the adjacent parcel.
Right.
And affect the river.
Yeah.
Just because this particular boundary doesn't touch the river is indifferent.
Right.
I think it's
The
in that
river does.
I
buffer.
understand, so it's within 250 feet, it's within 100 feet?
Yep.
Yeah,
So I think from an ecological perspective, we award the points because it doesn't matter what the parcel boundaries are
I agree.
to the stream.
Yep.
Brook, to the brook.
Makes sense to me.
So for 8 and 9, based on Micah's GIS calculations, which ignore parcel boundaries and only consider the brook, it'd be 50 and 8 and 15. Because again, the brook doesn't care. Well, come on. Okay, which gets us to 10. No steep slopes, 0. Public access. 0 currently.
So with the conversation about hunting,
Well, they don't own it yet,
Yeah, but
so it doesn't, it will. So it's-
nobody owns this when we're talking about having this conversation.
Well, the opportunity,
That would be it would be by permission anyway.
It's not
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
access.
okay,
There's not gonna be any public access.
No.
Right, there might be
Permission,
permission access.
permitted.
Right.
No, there's not gonna be any.
Right.
so. 0. Then. Also. No points for parcel offers opportunity. So community character, I think. This is one where it's very scenic,
Yeah,
You can
the
have-
open farmland.
the open farm.
Micah put some points in
yeah.
number
That's,
4.
Those points.
yeah, number,
This.
Okay, yeah.
under passive, education.
Thank you.
Sorry. Were you ready for community character?
Mhm.
I think it's 2.
It's really not.
Yeah,
proposed in there.
and not forest land. So take out forest land. So a total of 40.
Per acre, so it's only 38, right?
Well, he calculated, the GIS boundaries 40 acres.
Oh, is it?
But yeah. Which they go along.
Yeah, yes.
A public investment, it is an easement, so it should be 2, not 1. 40, so it's just moving from the
Yeah.
first row to the second. And then the match is Maine Farmland Trust, therefore 40 and 40. And then
Right.
570.
It must be
That's. Did something,
It's huge for us, yeah.
something weird in that?
Oh.
Well, she's just double checking.
100 points for those magical buffers you guys have.
They're
At 470. It's a go. More than a go for working farmland.
We don't have a magic number.
Okay, so, do we want a discussion and then a motion, or do I have a motion?
Questions?
Any
Yeah, I have
questions?
a question. What came up recently when we did the grant easement? Value of the easement, the way that the easement was valued for acre.
They
Just
didn't,
trying to anticipate.
so there was a concern that there was no public access. And there was a concern that it was undevelopable. So why does it have why is there a value to the easement if it's all wet? I'm not saying, this is my interpretation of what the comment was. If it's all wetland anyway, it can't be developed, so why do we need the easement? That's sort of why this
That's
is,
just the real, that's just people don't understand.
yes,
So that's, I
so,
mean, valuing these things is really difficult, but basically, you know, what you're doing is you've got a property value, you've got a market value.
yes,
And you say, if I can't develop, what's that in the world, that's what we crazy wealth stuff. If you can't develop it, what is that in the world? And that's how it's, oh. Thanks, they
It's
use,
within our, it's beyond our pay grade.
oh, no, we
We're
don't,
not gonna question
We're not.
the, it's a professional easement, certified appraiser. Done deal.
just anticipating questions.
yes, so this is
But-
highly developable
The concept that,
in theory.
why we're paying him things and not paying developable or whatever, that's just foolish, so. This particular property, it's a time.
Okay, it's 570. So easements have value, they're very common. I think that there's some more familiarity with what an easement is. I think there was also some, what's a conservation easement, because the town hadn't done one in a while, that being a little uncomfortable.
Let's call it education.
Yes.
We need to do some education.
And there was a push for recreational access. I don't anticipate that people will have that same concern with a working farm. I'm often wrong.
Well, hunting is a regulation, so.
Yeah, there you go.
But by landowner permission.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's a-
Okay.
but that's how all of the state of Maine is practically.
And that easement had covenant language that there was no public access.
Yes.
This one is up to the landowner, so it's a different scenario.
And I'm sure that other, they let the money up. So,
What was the other one that they were, was that one off Spurway? What was that?
that's the,
Oh,
one off,
There's so many-
Dirt Road.
There's so many projects. here.
Clay Pit Road, isn't
Oh,
that the one?
Clay, that's not.
What do we call that? Russ? No.
No, it wasn't Clay Pit.
West Beach Ridge. Yeah, Russell, yes, yeah, it's private road off.
Can I ask about the easement? If the landowner decides they no longer want to farm it and they want to lease it to another farmer for does Maine Farmland Trust have to effectively approve that use? No, it's entirely up to the you're trusting the landowner to follow the spirit of the.
They could lease it to another farmer to use, without permission from us.
Broad Farm does that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you're still maintaining the covenants, all that stuff, right?
yeah, so we're still checking on the property and making sure that whoever's using it is still abiding by the easement.
So if the land trust has an easement, they are bound to go visit that property once a year and make sure that it's maintained. That's the same thing with the farm easement.
Correct, yeah. Yep. Meeting with the landowner and making sure that they're following by.
Yeah, once a year, we stewardship, they come out, and we walk the land or ride the land. They just did it a couple of weeks ago, it's my yearly inspection, so. It takes, well, with me, it probably takes a couple hours, because I ride them everywhere. So we see just about everything, and we always ride over this property too. So, yes, and just another question back a ways, you asked about areas, like farmstead areas and stuff like that, we have several different farmstead areas in our acres that we have. We put them in when we put the project together, like towards Scarborough Corner, I have an area where I could put a farm stand. This just sits there, there's no farm stand there, but the land is there now, so if I ever wanted to do that. I got 8 acres around my homestead, for a farmstead, so I can put structures and stuff, it's there, but you still have to ask permission to put structures there. It's just like this, we're gonna have an area for, I might wanna build a barn over there, so. An equipment barn or something, so I have to go to them with a plan, what we're gonna do. So in Buxton, I have another area where I have an area where it's a structured area, so we can put a structure in. I'm very fortunate because I'm on the lands committee with the Farm Land Trust, so I know the ins and outs of all that stuff there, but we're very excited about this. I like to school.
Like, that's cool.
Can I make one clarification point, just because it could come up at some point? According to Maine law, conservation easement in Maine has to be monitored once in every 3 years. Land trusts, such as Maine Farmland Trust and Scarborough Land Trust, follow standards and practices that are set nationally for land trusts that require monitoring every year. And other states require monitoring every year, but I believe Maine's statute says at least once in every 3 years.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? If down the road you decide to sell this property. The easement goes with the property, it could only be sold for farming for an agricultural purpose.
I mean, hypothetically, somebody could buy it and just maintain the fields and not farm it. And be abiding by the easement. Right,
Can't develop it, but there's no way that it could ever be turned into something else.
State lot or something like that, right? There's. Can't build a house on this, so.
Out of curiosity, how does the easement value? Apply to the purchase price? Is the purchase price of the property an identity with the easement value?
Not really, and, yeah, what we're concerned with is the easement value, so whatever the property. Whatever Glenn and the O'Donnells work out in terms of the purchase price is, separate from our concerns.
Okay, so they're completely separate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it contributes to you being able to value the land, but,
But we've got to pay too.
No, I appreciate it. I just see the easement. Payment as subsidizing the purchase price
yes,
of the actual property.
yes. And so when we get the appraisal, they will value what they think the property, the land only is worth. Without an easement, and then they will value what the easement's worth, and then they will value what the land is worth after the easement is placed on the land. but that does not include any structures or buildings, houses, things like that, so, yeah. In this case, I can look it up, but, the idea is the easement is gonna decrease that, the price of that land by X amount of dollars, by, in this case, $385,000. And from our perspective, our hope is that that makes that more affordable for a future farmer to be able to buy that land that's there. Not having to pay for the development rights at the same time.
So the easement value here gets paid to the property purchaser?
The easement value is just, or the easement value, yes, is gets paid to the owner of the land, yes, or in this case, the buyer.
So that kind of would all happen at closing, is that the way
Yeah,
it
so in
works?
this case, we're doing a simultaneous closing, because those funds that Glenn would be selling on the development rights. By selling those, he's getting some funds to be able to put towards purchasing.
Okay,
And that's not a novel situation, that is. I don't know, common, that happens with a regular frequency
Yeah.
in these types of
Yeah,
transactions,
just,
and
we
it all happens.
often do simultaneous
Yeah.
closings to allow the buyer to be able to afford that purchase. It would be the same thing as if they just bought it and then we do the easement and then they get that money afterward. It's the same thing. And just looking up the appraisal, so the before value that the appraiser valued this land at was 520,000. After the easement's placed on there, they valued it at 135,000.
okay,
So quite a significant drop, right?
yeah, exactly.
Who when the town is this out? This sounds so ignorant about this, I shouldn't know this, but who's the money going to? The bond, our money, the town money, who's supposed to?
Hey Doug.
Who? We're talking about 192,500 coming from the land bond, going to
The applicant,
the farmland trust.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know that I can speak to that for certain, but
that
in your
goes to the
case,
farmland trust and then the farmland trust. Pays for the easement, it is my understanding,
Well, yeah, the farmland trust is the applicant.
yeah.
more discussion, do we have a recommendation? It's almost noon. Time check, got 5.
I move to approve $192,000 to Maine Farmland Trust to acquire
192,500.
192,500 Green Fenderson Place agricultural easement.
Yeah, we didn't make that, we to recommend purchase, not to the council.
Agreed.
Okay,
Who seconded?
Noah
Maggie.
made the recommendation, seconded. Now open it for discussion. I think it's wonderful to keep local lands in the town of Scarborough and to protect that protected piece within 1,000 acres, and that the future landowner will, works with the Maine Farmland Trust. They have easements on their property. I think it's just, I think Doug said it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, and I'm really excited that the Maine Farmland Trust took this on because, their contribution is pretty significant as well.
Yes.
And you guys.
Any other statements or questions? All those in favor? I show that is unanimous. Do you have everything that you need, Sue?
All right. Wonderful.
Wonderful. I think,
Next step is,
We have any idea of when is the next to the town council?
so the next town council meeting is on September 16th, 17th, so these will be October, it'll be October, so I need to write the letters. The recommendation letters, then he's at least 1 week to get on the agenda, so we're definitely in October,
Do you have a second reading of one coming up right now
that's on the 17th, no,
on the 17th?
yes.
And that is for which parcel?
To 44 Beechridge. So that means we have we have second reading on the 17th, and then we have 3 recommendations, which will go in the October meeting. So there'll be first reading and second reading in October, assuming we get on the agenda. That's really up to Chairperson Sider and town manager. So I don't get to pick when they go on. And then there'll be a first reading, and then there'll be a second reading. And then,
Is there any updating to Karen? Needs it happen? All this.
well, she gets all the applications and everything. She's aware it's happening, but, you know, and she'll get the recommendation letters with the rest of the council. We gotta fill that up.
What about the appraisal?
That is, so Tom will be, town manager Tom Hall will be attending our next meeting to present his request and answer questions.
But
we can make that, let's table that till next.
Yeah, that's next meeting.
So when is our next?
October 16th,
What is it? October what?
16,
Again, 10 to 12.
again, 10 to 12.
again, 10 to 12. So we don't currently have any applications before us. We've gone through 4. And so assuming no additional applications, they have until 2 weeks before the meeting to get us any applications, applicants. Then it will really be focused on the updated land acquisition law
So,
So what is town hall coming?
Yeah, what's time?
on the 16th.
To do what?
To present us a request and answer questions
A
about
request
our
of-
evaluation process.
Oh,
So we'll deal with that on the 16th. There's nothing
oh.
to do today.
So
Is
he's
that
gonna
gonna
request-
be, we'll know what the request is before the
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah.
Oh.
We will, it's informal at this point, so I want to know what the specific request is, so that I share it. And then he can present the present the request and answer our questions, which I assume there will be questions. Cause we question it.
Yes, we have.
so, the standpoint of the new that, forum. I apologize for coming in 3 minutes over, but it sounded like you're talking about something. Micah, will look at that, is there a workshop with Micah to look at that, or?
No. So the question, Nicole's gonna talk to Micah, ask him if every question is on that, there's some new form is accessible, all that data is accessible to him now.
But we still don't know whether that's acceptable.
Yes,
Yes.
here's, well, I didn't look at
On the
Yeah.
offset, it appears it's
Well-
available, right? Because he did the form.
but I didn't look at any questions. so I
Yeah.
don't know. So,
It looked like we had access.
Yeah, so- if that's the case, that checks that box.
So if that is the case, then we have the opportunity, which I think this is really important, to identify properties that we have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
And redo those.
Yeah.
Maybe 5, looking at different sizes,
Yeah, there's
locations.
charging the subcommittee with that, and then you'll let me know if that's ready for
But
October.
our committee should do the forms after Mike is done.
Oh, no, like pick the properties and have them run them,
Yeah.
and then give a
We-
preliminary look, and then present out, and then we'll review as a group.
Yeah, then we do those forms just like we do with these 2
Yes.
forms today. We do it
Yes.
as if we were about like, yeah.
Yes,
Go through the whole thing and say, what do we agree with, not agree with.
Yes.
But that's, needs to be done before we put out this one.
yes,
We need the benchmarks and we need the experience of the form.
Yes.
For it to be a learning process.
Totally agree. It's just that the subcommittee will coordinate with Micah and then report, let me know before the meeting where we're at.
Oh, so there's a supplement.
You're at.
That's you?
Oh, that's.
That's something. Can you get back to me before the next meeting, just after?
Yeah, I was gonna touch base with him on that piece and then check for
And-
availability, and hopefully
Yes.
it's before the
Yes.
October 16th
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
It's like, we don't have to
But-
have a vote.
That's
That's
it.
Here to do it. I mean, we have it for them, we need Micah to,
Well, you're
to
just
have
gonna
access.
coordinate with Micah and then and talk to him about how it went
Okay, all right.
before we,
Talking about how, when you use this stuff for the first
Yeah.
time. or-
yeah.
That's what the
That-
whole thing find
That's
out.
fine.
And if we can talk in right person to person, that's good too, probably. I don't know if that's allowed.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, yeah, we'll figure that.
yeah.
I'll find out.
It's, because there's some talk about some application or some.
Right,
app
and then there's
that
the
they
app.
do.
Just
We don't need
I
it.
move to
We just-
adjourn.
Yes,
second it.
we just need to,
Sure.
make sure you have access to the